Collectively, we're representative of a very large number of organizations concerned about social justice issues generally, poverty issues, inequality issues, and particularly today our focus is on housing and on Bill C-304, which today moves into third reading and the opening of a debate on Bill C-304, which is an act to ensure secure, adequate, accessible, and affordable housing for Canadians. The essence of this bill is it simply would require the minister responsible for the Canada Mortgage and Housing Corporation to consult with provinces and territories and other stakeholders to come up with a national approach or a national strategy on housing, something that we and literally dozens to hundreds of organizations across the country have been asking for a very long time.
Our agencies have committed significant personal and organizational resources to this purpose, yet we witness the rise of homelessness as a crisis of disturbing proportions and of societal, systemic, and individual complexity. It's estimated that up to 300,000 Canadians, men, women, children, families, are homeless in Canada. The numbers reported by cities are, for the most part, increasing each year. And we know that any numbers we do have are estimates at best, because for every homeless person who is counted, service providers will estimate. We're convinced that the federal government has a role to play in leading by example, in priority and in policy. The government's priorities set the tone and direction for who we are as a nation. And so it's important that the federal government establish the 30,000-foot level vision and direction, and together with the provinces and territories, agree to standards and measures for housing adequacy and availability in Canada.
Been in existence since 1993, when we organized to try to get the federal government at the time to change its mind about putting a cap on new social housing programs. We were fearful at the time that homelessness would increase, and that has unfortunately been the case not only among Aboriginal people, but among all peoples across Canada. There's thousands and thousands of people on the street, and this situation has to be addressed. And over the years, we have always advocated for a coordinated approach with the federal government getting back.
Bill C-304 is one of the most important pieces of legislation this country has seen in the last several years. It provides an opportunity to address one of the most pressing social and economic issues confronting this country: homelessness and inadequate housing. Canada is one of the richest countries in the world, even in the midst of an economic recession. We have the resources, the expertise, and I believe the will to solve this problem. Bill C-304 is a way forward. It provides the architecture and the direction that this country needs to make a real difference in the lives of the most vulnerable. To date, the current government has not supported the bill. They've voted against it at every step of the way. That being said, this is the same government that recently said to the United Nations that in June of last year, they said very clearly to the United Nations, we accept that we need to do more to implement the right to adequate housing back home in Canada. And we have that on paper, on record. And so I think that this government isn't completely disinterested in housing at the national level. So I'm not going to count them out yet. I think we've heard some Conservative MPs speak quite favorably about the need to address homelessness and poverty in the country. So I don't think we can count them out yet.